In the stories of this time, you always get these images, don't you? And God spoke to you, or an angel came. I wonder what that actually looks like. What does that look like now? Because surely they still do. Surely God still speaks to us. So I took myself into a Dartmoor forest for 101 days, simply to sit, usually at dusk, what we call the Dempsey time, the time between dog and wolf, and see in that deep silence what the wild may still have to say to me. The earth thinks in myth is an old idea. But what I encountered that night was something cosmological. It was something even more enormous. It was something that graduated me into information about the universe, not just a tree or a cormorant or a salmon or the barley in the field. This was different. And it took me a long time to catch up with quite what I'd encountered. I mean, home is a very deep question. There is a physical location, and there's also a soulful or a spiritual location. And as a Christian, home is a place I locate inside myself now. It's a place where God may be present everywhere, but there's a particular focus I can have where I feel His presence. So that's where home is. So I carry that with me. It's nomadic. I follow a nomadic God. You will remember that towards the end of this tale, old Jacob, never ending is my grief, never ending is my grief, never ending is my grief. There was an end to his grief, and there was redemption to this story, and he was brought back into the presence of his beloved son, Joseph. So I'm walking through Letterkenny in Ireland, and an old man sees me and he walks away and he turns back and he comes and touches the tip of my hat and he says, "That hat is too big for this town." And he's off. And that was very interesting. And that night that I went out and did the gig, I came out with 3 hats. And the first hat was a fairly small hat. The hat by half time was pretty big. And the hat was a friggin' sombrero by the time I'd finished. And I think one of the things about being a storyteller is you have to wear a hat too big for the town. You can't always be taking your cues from the conditions of your family or your church even, or the town. You have to be kind of audacious and gleeful in a way. Otherwise, you're not big enough for the stories that are going to inhabit you. If you're going to be a storyteller, you have to have a storytellery kind of life. And I have had an extremely interesting and unusual life. I was a dreamy kid. And that would have been on the school reports. He's a dreamer. But that didn't mean that I didn't have friends. But I wasn't great at football. I wasn't great at sport. I wasn't great academically. So the things that I tended to love were of a more introverted nature. They were stories, they were poems, they were drawing, they were being out in the woods. So early on, I think I had a pronounced sense of what you could call the deep interior. I had parents that loved language. My dad was and is a preacher. My mum loves poetries and stories. We all do. It was a house with a lot of light and shade in it. It wasn't a place where there were just books on shelves. Those books were being read. I'm a romantic. I come out of a tradition. I come out of the romantic tradition which Tolkien comes out of, C.S. Lewis comes out of, Chesterton comes out of. Like, I come from a place, and it's very dignified romanticism. It's not to be embarrassed about, and it has an enormous home within Christianity, you know, the chivalric tradition in a way. So I found... How do you work towards becoming an ancestor, not a ghost? And I think if you are literally spirited from place to place, then there isn't a sense of a root system to you. I would very much like to be buried in the churchyard in Ashburton on my 300th birthday, or whenever it happens to be, but I think it's a very, very long time away. I say that, otherwise my children and nieces and nephew get upset, you know. So I hope the stories are going to take you into your sleep and into your rest. And for most of you, at least, we will pick this up tomorrow. Thank you very much.